Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to show you all how you can get a flawless, natural, radiant kind of makeup look, something that you could wear about every single day. So I'm going to be showing you guys how to do this makeup look that I have on right now. I'm going to take you through step by step and really break it down for you. I'll talk to you about the products that I use and other things that you could try to use at home. But if you're interested to see how to get this makeup look, then keep on watching. All right, we're zoomed in nice and close. Let's get into some makeup. The first step I want to share with you guys that I've discovered is actually the most important step to any makeup look, especially when you're trying to look glowy and let your natural self kind of shine through, is skin prep. So I've already cleansed my face. I threw on a couple serums that I like to use every day, and I'm going to go in now with the moisturizer that I told you guys about in my last video. This is the GLAMGLOW Glow Starter Moisturizer. Like I said, my big bottle is on the way. It's supposed to get here tomorrow, thank goodness. This is just my little tester guy, but I have been obsessed with using this moisturizer as my first step in my makeup lately because it gives a beautiful luminosity to the skin that I feel like really shines through my foundation. Do you see the little subtle glow that kind of comes through right now? I don't know if it's hard to tell with these crazy lights on, but I just think it gives an awesome glow that starts off my radiant makeup look that I'm going for. I'm also going to top that off with a pore filling primer. This is the No Poreblem primer from Touch in Soul, and I'm just going to stick that where I have pore problems, which is kind of right here around my nose. But any priming step that you like to do, whether you're canceling out redness or extra moisture, whatever it might be, go ahead and throw on whatever primer you really like to use. But I'm gonna go ahead and fill in these big pores on my face first. And the last sort of skin prep step that I like to do before I move on to true makeup is moisturizing my lips. So I'm gonna put on this Fresh Sugar Caramel Lip Hydrating Balm, but whatever hydrating lip balm you have that will help you look a little less crusty and dusty, this is the time, baby, throw it on. I've really found that taking good care of my skin every single day and then prepping my skin really thoroughly before I go into makeup has really changed my makeup game. So I super highly recommend these steps before you get started. I like to do it all in the beginning, and then I'm actually going to move on to my eyebrows and my eyes so that this stuff all kind of has time to settle in. My lips are getting moisturized, my skin's kind of soaking up all the goodness in my moisturizer and my primer while I work in my eye area. If you guys knew what time I was filming this, you might be judging me for drinking a White Claw, but this channel is brought to you by White Claw. Just kidding, I wish. So very quickly, I'm just gonna speed through me putting on my eyebrows. I have an entire tutorial on how I like to do my eyebrows in a few different ways, and I will link that in the description box down below if you haven't seen it yet. But I'm just gonna be filling them in today with my Anastacia Brow Wiz and then throwing on some brow gel, and we'll move on. Okay, brows are on. For a natural look, I'm not really concerned too much about getting them perfect and symmetrical or carving them out with concealer. I'm just kind of working with my natural brow shape, filling them in a little bit, and moving on to the eyes. The first step there is going to be priming my eyelids. I like to use a little bit of concealer. Here's a little life hack for you. If you ever get a concealer that you think is a little bit too light for you, or you don't really love the formula, I keep that and I use that as my eyeshadow primer. So today, no shade to Colourpop, but I am going to be using the Colourpop No Filter Concealer because I just don't necessarily love this one, and it is a little bit too light for my skin tone. But I think using a lighter concealer actually works great under eyeshadow because the lighter it is, the more color can kind of pop on top of it. I'm just going to be taking that and placing a little bit on each eyelid. And we're done. That's the finished makeup look. And then I'm just gonna blend that out across my eyelid. I like to use this brush by Real Techniques, but if you can see here, it's like a nice domed shape. and it's great for just buffing that concealer out across my eyelid. Once I have that concealer on my eyelids and I look sufficiently psychotic, I am going to set that with a white to skin tone-ish eyeshadow. Some people don't love setting their eyeshadow primer. I always set it. I think it's a lot easier to blend on top of when you set it, so I'm gonna set mine. Where's my setting brush? Where's the setting brush? And lately, to set that, I like to use just the matte Aura shade right here out of the Tati palette. So I'm gonna slap that on my eyeballs, anywhere that I put that concealer. And I like to bring that white eyeshadow up right underneath the eyebrow because because I did put concealer there, but then it also acts as an eyebrow highlight right there. So I don't have to worry about adding that on later while I'm doing the rest of my eyeshadow. All right, that is all set down, and now we're gonna do eyeshadow. This part is really interchangeable, whatever you wanna do, whatever eyeshadow look you're going for that day. I'm just gonna quickly show you my very, very simple go-to eyeshadow look for the most natural, easy, quick out the door look, and that I have actually been using my new beautiful Jeffree Star and Shane Dawson Conspiracy palette to do. I know if you look at this eyeshadow palette, you're like, that doesn't look like a natural eyeshadow look, but there are 3 eyeshadows in here that I think are amazing for a natural look. So I'm gonna take a large fluffy eyeshadow brush and I'm gonna dip into shade Tannicon here, and that is gonna go all over my crease. I'm just doing windshield wiper motions back and forth, being sure to bring that all the way across and even into this inner corner. And then I am fluffing that all the way up with circular motions and going almost all the way up to that brow bone, because this is going to be the majority of the eyeshadow that people are gonna see for this natural look, just this light brown kind of blended out. And if you don't have this palette, which is extremely likely, it's sold out really fast, use any light brown shade. It can be a cool tone, it can be a warm tone, but just take any light brown transition shade that you have on a fluffy brush and run that back and forth through your crease. Now for a little added definition, I'm going to be taking a slightly smaller fluffy blending brush and dipping into shade Diet Root Beer here, which is a little bit darker than Tannicon, and Diet Root Beer is a pretty warm brown, but like I said, just use a deeper shade. It doesn't have to be the same one out of this palette, just a slightly deeper brown. That I'm gonna pat into the outer corner of my eye first, and then I'll run that also a little bit up into the crease as well. This isn't supposed to be super dramatic, it is subtle, and we're just going for a little added definition here. My last step for the eyelid is I'm going to be taking this cream colored shade called My Pills here on a flat shader brush, and I'm going to just be putting that over my eyelid. So it's going to go underneath that transition shade here and then stop when I get to this darker brown where I put the Diet Root Beer, and I'll kind of blend into that Diet Root Beer and just kind of re-emphasize the lightness that was on my lid with this shade. It's just a light cream color, so anything that you have that is probably a little slightly darker than what you use to set your lid, but still pretty close to skin tone will work for this. And that's it for the eyelid. I will be doing mascara and my lower lash line later on, but we, for right now, are gonna move on to the skin and the base. So this is kind of the most important part to me when we're talking about how we're gonna make our makeup look natural and flawless. And of course, we're gonna be using my new absolute favorite foundation, which is the tried and true L'Oreal Pro Glow. Now, if you guys don't have this foundation, use what foundation you think looks good with your skin. But personally, I think the key to what makes this look so natural and beautiful is the radiance that comes from this Pro Glow foundation. So if you have a more luminous foundation, that is what I would go with. I'm going to be blending this out on a sponge because I think that's going to give us the most natural finish to the foundation. So I'm just squeezing my foundation directly onto my sponge. If my sponge is dirty, don't judge me. I really need to get a new one. And then I'll be applying that directly on top of all of my moisturizer and primer that has hopefully now sunk in really nicely. And we will go from there. I just love how ghastly I suddenly look with foundation on my lips. Oh, that is just a nice look. As you can see, I'm not swiping or anything. I'm pressing and pushing that foundation into my skin because my skin is going to warm it up and it's all going to melt into each other and just give us that natural finish that we're looking for. Really take your time blending this out because you don't want to be seeing any obvious splotches or streaks. That's definitely going to take away from the natural element of your look, and it's just not going to look as flawless that way. So take your time, pat it in, go over it, and eventually you're going to have a really nice finish. So today I actually have a couple zits. I have one up here and one over here. Kind of hilarious and wonderful karma because I was just telling you guys how I'm not worried about breakouts when I was filming my last video about my cleanser. But I do have a couple zits today, and I just want to encourage you guys that if you're going for this look, don't feel like you need to jump on a full coverage foundation for this. I would stick to the kind of more lighter medium coverage glowy foundation and then layer on concealer just in the spots where you need it, because the key to this look is this lighter coverage that's going to let your skin show through, and you can always use concealer in those spots and just layer up the coverage a little bit in those areas where you need it so you're not looking as cakey everywhere else. Personally, I'm not even going to do that because I'm okay with this level of coverage, and I'm really okay with people seeing some of the flaws, especially in an everyday makeup look like this. If you were going to something glam, you definitely might want to layer it up, but for me, if I was just going out today to do something, I don't care if people can tell that I have a breakout under here, whatever. But if you want to cover it up, stick with the concealer instead of the full coverage foundation. Speaking of concealer, it is time to move on to that. Today I'm going to be using my Maybelline Age Rewind Concealer. This is an oldie but a goodie for me. I think I even talked about this in my very first affordable makeup tutorial that it's my second video ever. But I'm going to take that same concealer and I'm going to put a little under my eyes, a little bit down the nose. I always do a little around my nose where I get redness, and I'm going to layer some on my chin because somehow I always have redness that really peeks through on my chin. You can layer this, like I said, over a breakout if you have one, anywhere else where you feel like you need a little more coverage than the foundation is providing, and then I'm going to go in with my same damp beauty sponge and just blend that all out. It feels really weird to actually be doing my makeup on camera because all the videos I filmed lately, I already had my makeup on when I was filming, so it's kind of nerve-wracking doing this in front of you guys, I'm not gonna lie. But, just trying to roll with it, have fun with it. I hope you guys find this helpful. I've been so obsessed with my complexion lately doing my makeup this way, so I hope you guys enjoy it as much as I do. Next up, I'm going to be setting the areas where I put concealer with powder. I'm not going to be setting my whole face. If you like setting your whole face, especially if you feel like you do have a little more oily skin, you want it to last a little longer throughout the day, you're going to be wearing your makeup for 8 hours, you can set your whole face. I'm going to only set the areas where I put down that concealer because the more powders you layer on your face, the more obvious your makeup is going to be. I am going to be putting a different kind of powder down along the other areas of my face, but for right now, I'm just going to set my concealer. You can use any translucent setting powder. I have this tiny little sample of a BareMinerals powder. This is the Mineral Veil. It just says original Mineral Veil. I have a little sample of it that I'm trying to use up, so I'm going to be using that, but you can definitely use like the Becca powder I talked about in my last video, or whatever translucent powder you have at home. I'm just going to pop that on a tiny brush and gently pat that everywhere I put down that concealer. And, you know, try to use even, you know, the lightest layer of this that you can as well, because seriously, the less powder that you have to layer on, the more natural your makeup is going to look. We don't want to be cakey, that is the goal, no cake. Save your cake for dessert. I just came up with that. I like it. Save your cake for dessert. I'm gonna powder my entire nose because my makeup tends to wear off on my nose. So like I said, if you're worried about longevity, powder your whole face or powder just the areas where you put down concealer. I don't think I said that enough times. All right, now that I have my concealer powdered down, we are gonna start using this Hourglass palette that I told you guys about in my last video. This is the Ambient lighting palette. This is the Ghost Edit unlocked version. After I filmed that video, I looked up this palette, and I don't even know if you guys can get this anymore, so I'm so sorry, but there are other palettes by Hourglass that have the same exact kind of powders in them, and you can also buy all these powders individually, but this is life-changing. I don't even know what to say to you guys about it. So, like I said, I didn't powder my whole face, but now I'm gonna go in with this lightest powder here in the corner. This is called their finishing powder in Soft Light. So finishing powders like this, a lot of the time you can set your whole face with your translucent powder and then go in with a powder like this. I don't want to use too much powder, like I said, so I'm just going to skip that step and move right into using this powder on my face. I'm going to be taking a smaller brush and dipping it in there, and then I'm going to tap that all along kind of the outside areas of my face where I did not set with translucent powder. But I am gonna avoid the areas where I feel like I have larger pores, which is mostly kind of right here in my cheeks, because this is a reflective, kind of luminous powder, and that's what I love about it. But anything that's reflective or luminous is gonna emphasize your pores, no matter what. Any highlight, any finishing powder, anything that is luminous is gonna make your pores look a little bit larger. So I don't like to bring this powder too far into that center area where I experience pores. If you're not worried about the size of your pores, then don't sweat it, dude. Lucky you. I am, so I'm just gonna skip that spot. But I don't know how much you guys can tell, especially for me when I go out in the sunlight. I feel like this looks so nice. And it also does act like a setting powder in that it kind of helps the longevity of my makeup, and it makes it a little easier to blend other powders on top of that. So I'm gonna take a minute right now to spray myself down with a little bit of my Catrice Prime and Fine Dewy Glow. I can't talk. My Catrice Prime and Fine Dewy Glow. I'm gonna spray my face down with that so that this initial layer of powders can start melting into the skin. And I do like to really drench myself so that I feel like pretty wet on the face, because that's really gonna help everything melt together. And I'm gonna take my time and just fan it off. If I were cool or put together like the other influencers, I would have a cool fan that I could clack right now and wave, but I'm not cool enough. I'm just not there yet. Someday, guys. And once I feel like that powder is all dried down after the spray, we're gonna go in with some bronzer. I'm gonna use the bronzer that's inside this Ambient lighting palette, but you guys can use whatever bronzer you are fond of. It doesn't necessarily have to be a luminous bronzer for this step, I feel like. A lot of people don't really like luminous bronzers, and I often don't either. So a matte bronzer is fine for this step, because honestly, I think that a matte bronzer actually does look a little more natural than a glowy one, and certainly one with shimmer. I can't with a bronzer with shimmer. Why does that exist? I'll never understand. All power to you if you like that. I can't get behind it. I can't make it work for me. So I'm gonna use this bronzer to sculpt out my cheeks and then go along the perimeters of my face. And I kind of like to pat it down with this brush. So I'm like kind of pushing it flat against my face and patting it down. And then once it's on, I'll go let it blend with the fluffier part of the brush like that. So I pat it where I want it and I blend it. I think bronzer is my favorite step of makeup. Like, my bronzer might even look a little ham for you guys, but I love adding bronzer. I think it just totally changes the shape of the face and just really carves everything out and glams everything up and just makes you look so snatched. But today we're going for snatchural. Not snatch, but snatchural. We want to be snatchural. You see how glowy I look right now? And I don't have on any highlight or anything like that yet. Oh, I just love it. I love being dewy. It makes me happy. I'm gonna take a little bronzer down either side of my nose, even a little bit down the middle. I just like to warm up that area of my face so it's not dark on the outside and all light on the inside. And run a little bit down my neck. Just a little bit down my neck. Awesome, next we're gonna throw on some blush. So I like to use any kind of more nudish colored blush when I'm doing a natural look. I'm gonna use this one. This is a Kathleen Lights and Colourpop collaboration, and the name actually isn't on this packaging. So I will make sure the name is in the description box down below for you guys. But any kind of more skin-toned blush will work. I'm going to put it on a very fluffy brush so that it goes on very diffused and not too concentrated, because that's going to add to the natural effect. Sorry if you can hear these loud people outside my window. How come I can't get any freaking quiet in this apartment? And last, for my face, we're going to be throwing on some highlight. We're going to be using that highlight that's basically the only one I ever want to use, the Essence Pure Nude Highlighter. This stuff is amazing. It gives the most natural lit from within glow. I'm going to use it on a bit more of a bigger, less dense highlighting brush, because that's going to really help it look diffused so there's not a big stripe of shine across my face. That doesn't look very natural, if you ask me. I'm just going along the cheekbones, and then on the tip of my nose, I like to come up and highlight kind of in between my eyebrows and then lightly drag that down. I'll do my Cupid's bow. And then I like to add a teeny bit on the chin and a teeny bit over each eyebrow. But anywhere you want to add glow, that's really personal preference. I would definitely recommend doing the cheekbones though, just with something nice and natural like this. And now we are gonna spray one more time, really lock in all these powders. Yes, I'm going overboard with the spray, I'm telling you. It makes such a difference. This is all gonna look way more natural. Obviously, I'm doing my setting spray and I haven't completely finished my makeup, but I like to finish spraying before I put on mascara because I feel like it kind of keeps the mascara from smudging when the wetness kind of touches it. So we are now going to move on and finish up the eyes by doing a little under eye by doing a little eyeshadow on my lower lash line, and then we'll throw on some mascara and a lip, guys. I'm going back to my Conspiracy palette and dipping back into the Diet Root Beer, which is that somewhat darker brown that we used. So whatever shade you used on that outer corner of the eye, and then I'm just going to take that on a pencil-y brush. Yeah, pencil-y. And I'm going to put it on my lower lash line and just connect it out to where that Diet Root Beer is on my outer corner here. If you want it to look even less noticeable, you can always go with that lightest brown that you used in the crease under your eye. Or you don't have to do any under eye eyeshadow, but I prefer to always have something down there because I feel like it looks a little disjointed to have something on my lid and not on my lower lash line. And last, I'm gonna highlight my inner corner with that same Pure Nude highlight from, what is it from? from my makeup collection. From Essence. I don't know what I'm thinking today. Drink every time Caitland acts like a freak. All right, last step for the eyes is some mascara. I'm gonna be using this BareMinerals Lashtopia. This is another sample I got from BareMinerals, but whatever mascara you enjoy. I don't have a very dedicated mascara these days. I'm kind of trying out a few things in smaller sizes like this until I find something I am truly into. But go ahead and throw on some mascara on your top and bottom lashes. All right, mascara's on, and for the final finishing touch, we need to do our lips. Now this is really up to you, whatever you want to do. You might want to throw on just some lip balm and run out the door. Maybe a nude lip would be great here, or a gloss. I want to talk to you guys about these Sephora lip clicks. These are almost like a mix between a lipstick and a gloss. They're called a, what is it, a melting lip color, and I love this one in the shade, I really don't know what shade you are. Oh, creme brulee. Okay. And it is going to give the slightest amount of color to the lips without looking like a real full-blown lipstick. And it's nice and shiny and moisturizing. And it just feels really good. Like you can see, it doesn't give a super strong effect. It's just very natural, which is perfect for what we're going for this. And this is the finished look, you guys. I hope you enjoyed watching me put together this natural, radiant, everyday kind of look. Try to follow along if you can. You can use products that you already have at home, or you can try out some of the things I recommended today. But I hope you guys really enjoyed this tutorial. Let me know if you try out this look. Send me a picture. I'd love to see you guys recreate it in the future. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please leave me a thumbs up. Leave me a comment down below with what you like to wear out for your everyday kind of look. And of course, if you have not subscribed already, please hit that subscribe button. Join Caitland, become a citizen of our land, if you will. And I thank you guys so much for watching. As always, I appreciate you so much. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!